So in the today's session, we are going to administrate web servers and we will deploy websites. Okay, so how to configure those websites, all these we'll discuss in the today's session. So for the web server deployment on Linux, we have Nginx and Apache we have. So these two are the popular web servers we have. On Windows, we have the IIS. So today, I'll install, deploy the websites, troubleshooting, basic web server administration. We should have good knowledge. Okay, so that's how to manage. I'll explain to you. So I'm going to use AWS console. Yeah, say here we have EC2. I'm going to create one instance. I'll take Ubuntu. You try to do the same steps on Red Hat or Apache. On either Apache or Red Hat, try to manage. So now here I'm going to launch the instance. So I given the same name, my web server and Ubuntu. Say if you want to do Ubuntu 24.04 or if you want to practice on 22.04. Okay. Say instead of taking the higher version, I took some lower version. 22.04 I have taken. Then T2.micro. Either I can create a new key pair or I can use the existing key pair. My new key pair. If you want from now onwards, you can directly download PPK file also, but as of now, still practice .pem file itself. I'm going to give my Nginx pem. I'm going to create that key pair and it's downloaded. Already one is there, but no issues. Then networking, I'm going to go with the default options. So now here we are going to install HTTP. Also, we can open the security group. I have given 12 GB. And here we have EBS volume. This is, and we are using GP2. GP2 stands for general purpose. So we are going to use the general purpose volume we have used. Okay. So then I'm going to launch the instance. Then we'll connect it to that instance. We'll install Apache web servers and we'll host the websites also on top of this. And this is the instance ID we got. I'll connect it to this public IP. So first I need to use putty-gen. Downloads. All files. Yeah, my Nginx 1. Save it as a private key. I'm giving here my Nginx PPK. And in desktop, I'm saving this. Then I need to open the putty, public IP, SSH, authentication, credentials. In my desktop, I have, and I want to change the font size also. Then in the appearance, bold 14. And I'm going to connect. Normally, if it is a username password, just you enter that host name or IP address, Then you can enter the username and password. And what is the username for Ubuntu instance in AWS? Ubuntu is the username. Say username is the Ubuntu. Okay, so then I'm going to install a web server. Say here we have two web servers, Nginx or Apache. Anything is fine. I'm going to install here one web server. Say sudo apt install Nginx. Sorry. First I'll use sudo apt update. Then install also we have a typo. First we need to use the update we need to do. First repo we need to update. So once we updated our repo, I will install. So what are the steps I'm doing here? I have copied into this document also. Sudo apt update, then sudo apt install Nginx I'm going to install, and hyphen y, it doesn't prompt me again. Otherwise I need to enter yes, no, delete kind of thing. Say what is the version we have taken here? 22.04, right? If it is 24, it's maybe up to date packages may be there. 22.04 AMI is old AMI. That is the reason it taken some more time. Okay, so then I'm going to install Nginx. What is the command I have used is sudo apt install Nginx and hyphen y. If I don't use, it prompt me here. If I don't want this prompt, I need to enter without having like a prompt. If I want, then I need to use hyphen y option. Then once Nginx has been installed, we need to make sure whether that Nginx service has been running or not. Okay, so whether that service has been running or not, we need to make sure. Okay, so then sudo service Nginx status. Okay, so this will confirm me that Nginx service has been running fine. And to exit, I press Control C or Control Z. Okay, so here if this showing as active, then that service is running, and I need to enable systemctl enable Nginx also. In the subsequent login also, my Nginx service want to start. That is the purpose I have enabled that Nginx also. So now try to understand, if I install Nginx on this, by default the port number for the Nginx is 80. So by default that port number is 80. So today I'll show one more assignment. I don't want 80 for this. Already one more application is already using 80. My client or my requirement is, so I need to change the port number to some other port number. That's maybe 8080 or 8081. So these also HTTP ports itself. To any of these port number I want to modify. Say by default it is using, what is the by default HTTP port? What is the by default HTTP port? 80 is the by default HTTP port. Okay, so now I'll make sure whether that Nginx page is working fine or not. I have already copied that IP address. Sorry, I'll copy again. Yeah. Say if I open that IP address, my Nginx page need to come. Okay. So why Nginx page is not coming is, So who is blocking us? Who is blocking?
Inbound traffic.
Yeah, inbound traffic in the security group, inbound traffic port number 80 has been blocked. Then you go to security of the instance. So here we can go for the security of the instance, security groups, then that inbound rule, edit that inbound rule. Then here I'm adding a rule for the HTTP protocol. If you are using HTTPS, then you can open, and by default HTTP port is 80, and I'm going to open anywhere. Okay, so here there is one more risk. If the user having IPv6 address, then it may not work. That is the reason the same HTTP port I'm opening from. So some of the internet service providers or mobile internet service providers may give IPv6 address also to the users. For them, if I don't open this rule, only for IPv4 address it is allowing. But it's now in the second rule, what we have given is any IPv6 address. Okay, so now here we have one cider block. I'll explain what is cider block. But here try to understand, if it is 0.0.0.0/0, this represents any IP address in the world. Okay, if I'm talking about any IP address means it's IPv4. It's IPv4. Okay. So then here we have ::/0. This is the representation of any IPv6 address in the world. Okay, so 0.0.0.0/0 is the any IP address in the world. ::/0 is the any IPv6 in the world. So both I have opened. Okay, so then here one more security thing I'll tell. SSH, I don't want to open from anywhere. Then I can open my IP only. What is this my IP is? My internet service provider has given this 183.83.169.24. I'll check that one. So we have how to track our IP address. Okay, say we have one website is there. So what is my IP address or net address? There are a lot of websites are there. Okay, so now 183.83.169.24, and I got one IPv6 also. If I got only IPv6, then my website may not open. If I don't open anywhere IPv6 also I should open. But as of now, I got both the IPs, and my internet service provider is Beam Telecom. Beam Telecom. Okay, so this is the IP address I have. Okay, so then I'm going to allow only from this. Then what is going to happen? Even if I give the key pair for you, okay, even if I give the key pair for you, okay, so that instance is not accessible. Can you tell me what is the reason? What is the reason why that instance is not accessible to you?
Because of the different IP address.
Yeah, because only from this IP only we have whitelisted. For others, we are not going to whitelist. Say here I'm going to use a word called whitelisting and blacklisting. So now assume I have one more developer. He is also required that instance access. His IP is 3.23.45.72 assume. Okay, so then I got a requirement. This IP also we need to whitelist. For that instance, we got a requirement. We need to whitelist this IP address also. Then I'll go to security, add a rule. Then I want to give him SSH access. So then I'll choose custom IP. Then that IP address, we need to give /32. So as of now, what is this /32? I will explain, but that will represent only one IP address. So now that instance is accessible from how many IP addresses? As of now, this instance is accessible from how many IPs?
Two IPs.
Only two IPs. Like this, in the real time also, for our EC2 instances, we would be getting requirements to whitelist the persons who are going to access those IPs. We need to whitelist those IPs. I hope you got the point, right? Okay. So once we whitelisted these IPs, then I'm going to save the rules. And once I save the rule, okay, then I'll check now that IP address Nginx web page have been working fine or not. Okay. So then perfect. Nginx web page has been working. And by default, it is using the port number is. What is the default port number it is using? So the default port number it is using is 80 it is using. What is the default port number it is using? 80 is the port number it is using. Any doubts on this? Any doubts on this? Yeah, please tell me, do you have any doubts or okay? So then I'll deploy one website. So for that website, I'll go for any of the static website downloads. Okay, so in the real time, the websites have been designed by our web designers. So we'll have our full stack developers or web designers we will have, and they are going to create the websites. Then once we create those websites, so here whatever the website template you like, you download that template. Okay, so now here we have one template little fashion. If So if you want other templates also, there are more than 3,000 templates in this website. But these all static web-based applications. So here we have iTech one website template is there. So these all have been developed using HTML and CSS kind of Bootstrap, jQuery. So these all the front-end technologies. Mostly in our company also, will have the front-end UI team. Okay, they will develop these websites. There would be UX team also. UI team will work on the HTML, all these. UX team will work on this. Say here we have the image, right? These kind of images, all those have been worked by UX team. Okay, so then that website have been downloaded. Okay, so now what we need to do is that file format and folder directory structure, all that also we need to understand. So now in this, I have high-tech-html. In this, all these files we have, I'll copy this one into my desktop. That means first to keep the project name, then in that we should have the index.html file. Okay, so then I copy this into desktop. Okay, so now here the name we got is high-tech hyphen HTML. Okay, in this we have all these files about.html, contact.html, but by default the web server will show index.html as our home page. So what is our home page? Index.html is our home page. Okay, so then this page we are going to use for our deployment. Okay, so once we got this index.html, I'll rename this one. I don't want high-tech-html. I'll rename this one into Only high tech I'll keep. Only high tech I'm keeping. Okay, then this page I want to copy into my web server. The path of the web server is by default it would be where www.html. In some other servers, it's maybe another path also, but try to get that path. That is one of the assignment when you work with Amazon Linux or Ubuntu or in newer versions also. But where www.html is our folder structure where we need to copy our web server project files, then that web page is going to be delivered. Then that web page is going to be delivered for us. Okay, so now I need to copy that high text files which are in my Windows. I want to copy those into my Linux system. In order to copy the files from Windows to Linux, I'm going to use one software called as WinSCP. So WinSCP is one of the software. Putty we have used already. Putty is to remote connection over SSH. So Putty is the software remote connection. WinSCP is to copy files from Windows to Linux and Linux to Windows also. That means it's vice versa also. Windows to Linux we can do, or vice versa also we can copy the files. Okay, so that is the purpose. We need to install WinSCP just like Putty. That is also very small software. Okay, so we got the WinSCP and we need to connect to that remote Linux server. Then we can copy the files from Windows to Linux or Linux to Windows. So go to here new site, here the host name, enter the IP address. Okay, so we will get that IP address of the instance. So here we are going to get that IP address. Okay, so then so in the WinSCP, in the host name, I'm entering what is the username is Ubuntu. If it is Amazon Linux, use EC2-user. But we don't have the password. Then I'll go to advanced options. In the advanced options, authentication, I'll provide that PPK file. Say WinSCP also supports PPK itself. Okay, my Nginx PPK. Okay, so then I'm going to log in. Say one prompt will come. So now here left side we have lot of files. Right side we have lot of files. These all your Windows files. These all your Linux files. Okay, so by default, what is the home path or what is our present working directory path is home Ubuntu. Home Ubuntu is your by default path, but I don't want to copy to home Ubuntu. I want to copy to where www.html. So this is the root. In the root, these all the Linux directory structure. Okay, so then we have where www.html. Say in this, by default, we got the Nginx page, right? This is the Nginx page. It has been open. Now, in my desktop, I have my high-tech file. This I want to just drag and drop here. Okay, or even double click also. But it is throws one warning or error because we got the permission denied. Permission has been denied because we are login as Ubuntu user. So now here sudo chmod 777 where www.html. I'm giving here the read, write, execute permissions, but in the real time giving like this is not a best practice. Only for time being I'm giving. Going forward, we'll add the groups and add the permissions to the groups itself. But temporarily I have given here, then that issue have been solved. Previously, to the Ubuntu user, only for home Ubuntu is our home directory. There we have all the permissions. But to where www.html, only root have the permissions by default. Ubuntu user doesn't have the permissions. Hence, I have given the permissions to everyone. Now I'm able to copy. Say this high tech, I have copied here. Then if I enter that IP address, here by default, I'm getting Nginx page. But what I want is, I copied the folder name we need to open. High tech. HIGH. Yeah, now that in that high-tech directory or folder, we have index.html and that index.html have been opened for us. That index.html has been opened for us. Okay. Any idea? Okay. So then we can directly download this also. I'll deploy one more website instead of copying to Windows and through WinSCP copying those into Linux. Instead of doing that, directly I'll download from the website and I'll host the website here. Any doubts here? Any doubts on this?
Excuse me, sir. I
Yeah,
have
please.
one doubt.
Yeah, please tell me.
This website is managed by our instance, instance
Yes, yes. Our instance, we
identity.
have taken our instance to deploy the website itself. As of now, we are using our instance as a web server.
Okay. Why?
In order to deploy our websites, we have taken an instance. By default, instance can't do. That is the reason we have installed a web server.
Okay.
Why means to deploy the application, we are using our instances. This website I want to, because this my website for my business, I want a website that in order to host, I need a web server.
Can we use application server?
This is the static web content, right? If you have any business logic, maybe Java, .NET, those we can use application server. This is just a static web content.
Okay.
That is the reason we have used the web server here. Going forward, we'll deploy application servers also. But there are some servers like IIS, it can do both also.
Okay.
Okay, it can do both web server and it can do application servers also.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any others
Thank you.
have any doubts? So now here, what is the URL I have given is 52 dot this URL I don't want. If I use that IP address only. Okay, so one assignment I'm giving to you. If I open this IP address, what I'm getting? If I use only that IP address, what I'm getting? I'm getting my Nginx page. Okay, but that is my default page as of now. But what is my requirement is if I open this 52.66.239.241, what is my expectation is? Okay, this high-tech website itself is opens. How to do that? I'm giving you as an assignment. I hope you got the question right. What is this? What is the question? By default, I'm entering here 52.66. User is not telling, no, I don't want to type /high-tech also. I want to just open that IP address. Then my high-tech page need to open. Okay. So that I'm giving you as an assignment. Okay. So then we'll move to another scenario. Okay, so then I'll directly download that website. I'll extract that website, try to understand. So here I'll take one more template. So here we have something beyond coffee, sorry, dose coffee is there. That's cave kind of portal. Then this also I will deploy. So now I'm not going to download here. I'm not going to extract this. I'm not going to copy through WinSCP. Everything I'll do. on my Linux server itself. Then instead of downloading, I'm copy that link path from this download URL. I'm going to download the file. Okay, so I have one URL. What this will download is that zip file it is going to download. Then I got this file where my uh, UI design is there. Then I'll go to my Linux mission. I'll use present working directory where I am is home Ubuntu. Into this home Ubuntu is our home directory. So now here try to understand. I use one symbol that is called as tilt symbol. This is the shortcut. If you don't know the home directory path, you use that symbol. Then it goes to home Ubuntu. I'll move to root. So currently I'm in which directory? I'm in the root directory. But I want to move to my home directory. I don't know my home directory path. Okay, then I'll use that symbol. CD, that tilt symbol is nothing but is my home directory. Now I have moved to home Ubuntu itself. I have moved to my home Ubuntu itself. I have moved here. In my home Ubuntu, I'm downloading that zip file. For that, there is a command wget we can use or curl also we can use. Then it is downloading that file. Okay, so wget. It is taking as two commands. If you have two lines, how to enter also I'll show. Wget, then single command and that file path, then that file have been downloaded. Where it is downloaded is in my home directory itself, home Ubuntu doscape.zip. ls will list the files. Even ls-al also we have to display the hidden files, all those. I use ls, it lists the files. What is the name of the file is doscape.zip. Now what I need to do is I need to extract that zip file. I need to extract that zip file. Even in the Windows also you will extract that zip, right? Now what is the command for that is unzip that file name. Okay, unzip doscape.zip. Okay, so here I got an error. What is the error is we don't have unzip application. That is the reason it is not recognized as a command. Okay, it's not recognized as a command. But previously, Linux used to support archiving using tar format or gunzip format. But recently, they have given unzip also. Okay, in the Windows, we have unzip or rar, right? RAR, rar also will use WinRAR. Okay, in Linux, we have tar, TAR, or gunzip, GZ. Gunzip is the formats, but recently they have included zip format also. Then what is the problem is in my Linux Ubuntu AMI, Amazon didn't give me unzip package. Now I want to install a unzip package. Then sudo apt install unzip -y. I'm going to install unzip package here. I've installed the unzip package. Then I'm going to extract that package. But already I'm in the home directory itself. I'll have the permissions in this unzip, then dose cafe. I didn't type the complete word. I just type D and I'm in the same directory, right? If I press tab, that complete file have been already copied. Now what happened is that's all renamed into HTML, but I don't want HTML. Okay, so then I'll move to HTML here. Okay, so then if I see, I have all these about.html, blog.html, coffees.html, contact.html, CSS, images, index.html, some JavaScript files. I'm in which directory now? Home Ubuntu HTML. I want to go back to one directory backside. Then I'll use cd dot dot. Now I came to home Ubuntu. From HTML to normally in the browse explorer, we'll use back button, right? The same thing I did cd dot dot. Now I came to home Ubuntu. Then I have two like one directory. I have doscape. The doscape have been unzipped and extracted to HTML directory. Then my doscape I don't want because I have very limited size. I don't want to keep unnecessary files. Then I'll remove doscape. RM is the command I have used and I have deleted that file. Then I have HTML, but I don't want with the name called HTML. I want height like doscape. Okay. Then I'm going to redirect this one into like move is the command. Move HTML. I want with the name called doscape. Now that HTML itself have been renamed, even in the Windows, we did the same step, right? I right click on that and went to like a rename option and I entered that rename option. But here MV is the command I have used. But the doscape is in home Ubuntu. But to where I need to copy? Where we need to copy this one? We need to copy this one into where www HTML we need to copy. To where www HTML we need to copy. Okay, so for that purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some like one same command MV. In the previous use case, I use MV for rename purpose. In this use case, I'm going to use for cut and paste kind of operations. So for the cut and paste kind of, that means from here to I want to cut to that folder. Okay, sudo mv. What is the doscape? Okay, I want to copy to where www html. I want to copy to where www html. Then I'll go and check in that directory where www html. Then in this already I have high-tech directory and doscape directory I have copied. Okay, so then if I go to my home directory, okay, so what is my home directory? Home Ubuntu. If I take Amazon Linux, home EC2-user is your home directory. Okay, so then in this, I don't have that file. Previously, I have my doscape, right? Where it went? I didn't copy it. I have used MV command. MV, what it did is, what MV did? It's cut and pasted there. Okay, copy will do normal copy, but cut and paste is done by MV command. Okay, so now I'll open that website here. I'll open that website here. So instead of high tech, those cave. Okay, if you want to access that like high tech that website slash high tech, I'm going to use doscape slash doscape I'm going to use. Okay, so like this I have deployed the websites. Any doubts on this? Any doubts? So as of now, I have used Nginx as my web server. Okay, so then if I have any problem with that like that website is not working, then that is also our job role. So if the websites have been working fine, we don't have any issue. If that website is not working, we are responsible for troubleshooting. Okay, so what are the things we need to check? If that website is not working also, we need to verify. So that troubleshooting, securing these web servers, optimization, logging, monitoring, also our job roles. Okay, so then coming back to these commands, I'll share you. So then sudo apt update to update the repos we have used. Then apt install nginx-y using this command. We have installed nginx web server and we need to confirm whether that service is running or not, and the systemctl also we need to enable. Then very important is we need to check the logs. Okay, so we have two types of logs for the Nginx, and by default that logs have been stored in var log Nginx directory. We'll check whether that, so maybe definitely somewhere it would be written that log path. Sometimes it may be changes from one path to another path. So now here cd var log Nginx. Say in this we have two logs. Say in other OS, maybe Red Hat or Amazon Linux, the path may be different, but definitely Nginx will write the logs. So now here we have two logs. What are those two logs? Is access logs. Second one is error logs. Whatever the input request, say suppose here we entered one request right from the browser. I entered that IP address and I entered that port number and that IP address. That all the records, whoever tries to access our web server, all those records are going to stored in access log. Okay, so all the incoming requests to that server are going to be recorded into access log. And if the web server throws any error, those logs are going to be written into error log. Okay, so here we have access log and error log. And here I'm going to use one command called as tail. So we have head, tail, more. So these all the basic commands we'll use. So I can open that file by using cat also I can open. Okay, so now here I have two files, access.log, error.log. Then I can open cat access log. If I open cat access log, it shows the last two files for us. Okay, so instead of using that, I can use more access log. So if I show the more access log, it's showing me from the first page. Okay, with the cat, what it displays? I can read the complete file from starting to end, right? If I use the cat, the last lines it shows, but I don't want the complete file. I want only last 10 lines. Okay, then I'll use a tail command. Okay, if I use the head command, head will show the first 10 lines. Okay, so now this is the file, and if I don't specify anything in the number of lines, by default the number is 10. In the using -n option, you can display 15 lines or 20 lines also. Try to understand here. If I use tail -f, it displays how many lines it displays? 10 lines it displays. If I use the same command, -n15 will show me 15 lines. So when we want to see the bottom 10 lines, maybe we'll use for troubleshooting purpose, at the bottom 10 lines we want to check, then we are going to use the tail command. We are going to use the tail command we are going to use. We want first one, then we need to use head command we need to use. Okay, so both are important. And error logs also, what are the error logs we have also we'll discuss. So if you have encountered any errors, those would be stored in error.log. As of now, mostly we don't have any errors. That is the reason we don't have any error is there. Okay, so then I'll try to open one error. I'll check whether that have been recorded or not. So in those case, I have my index.html, about.html, but I don't have like CloudSoft.html. So here it throws one error page, right? What is that error it throws? 404, we know everyone, it's a page not found. So we need to discuss popular HTTP error codes also, but here this page 404 not found here. Okay, so then I'll check whether that have been recorded into that error log or not. Not recorded into. Say 200 error pages are success codes. 404 is error message. It's shown in the access log, but it need to come to say here in the access log. It shown like we open doscape slash cloudsoft HTML, but it written that 404 error. It thrown the 404 error. Previously, it shows most of them are 200. 200 is a successful error message. That means it's a success message. Okay, if it is 404, page is not found. In order to avoid these kind of things, our web server team will give one global error page also. If we don't want to display these kind of page also, we will redirect to one more like maybe 404 kind of page also. We may redirect that how to configure that 404 page also. Like we can discuss. So that means I don't want to display these kind of error to my users. I want to display UI itself. Any internal error comes, it will redirect to that global error page. Okay, I'll show an example. Say here sometimes you may say, yeah. So now this displays right here, page not found. Like this, I want to display that. Okay, that means I don't want to display this kind of message to the user. I want to display with some good message I want to give. Okay, so we can show some innovation here also. Okay, so now here with the different ways people can show that. So someone is showing we looked really hard why that page is comes. Okay, so definitely most of the people may redirect to their home page also. If I click here, go home, it will be redirecting to that index.html page. So that means for our web server, definitely we need to handle the global error messages also. Instead of showing that message to the user, better to display a better UI kind of thing. Later we'll resolve those kind of issues also. So for that, we need to configure a global error message that would be different from one web server to another web server. Another one web server to another web server, we are going to manage this. Okay, so now here we have two logs. One is Nginx access log. Second one is error log. If it is Apache, mostly same concepts. Var log, Apache2 directory will have these two. Okay, if it is Nginx, in the var log Nginx it stores. If it is Apache, var log Apache it stores. And here this one very important command I'll explain in the grep. Like we can search with grep is stands for get regular expressions. Get regular expression, and I don't want to open that file. Without opening the file itself, I want to check whether error is there in that file or not. Okay, so if I use the grep command, it shows if there is any error is there, it is going to display. So now here I have In my access log, I have a lot of entries related to 404. Okay, then it is displaying the lines which is having 404. Wherever it have the 404, that lines have been displayed. So like this, we'll use grep, get regular expression. I'll take one more session to explain grep, find, pipes, all these every day we will use in our real time. SCD, AWK. So these all every DevOps engineer need to know on the Linux system. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts on this? Any doubts? Okay. So then today we'll finish one more task. What is the task is I'm going to install Apache also on the same server. Normally in the real time, either web servers wise, we'll choose either Nginx or Apache. But here for the practice purpose, I want to install okay, I'll move to my home directory. Okay, I'm going to install Apache also here. Sudo apt install Apache I have installed. Then sudo service Nginx status. Say what is the status of Nginx? What is the status? It's running. Now I'm checking Apache status. What is the status of Apache? What is the status of the Apache? It's running or failed?
It's running.
Apache.
Apache
Failed
is
to run.
not running. It's failed.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll confirm again once. Sudo so now why Apache is not running? Any idea what is the problem for Apache to run? What is the problem for Apache to run? Any idea? Say I'll give one hint. Port number. Port
48 is not
number.
open.
No.
98 is already in use.
Already in use. Who is using
Yeah.
that?
98
Yeah,
port
90.
number.
No. Nginx is already using that.
Okay.
Okay, maybe we'll have one process ID. Definitely we'll identify that process ID also. But already Nginx is running. If I tell this to my manager, I don't know these all. I want make sure both should be running. Client don't want to give two servers for us. In the same server, we need to use both Nginx and web servers. Both Nginx and Apache 2, we need to run on the same server. Then any of that port number, we can change. So now in this use case, Nginx is already using 80. But if I want to change the port number for Apache 2, I need to change the port number. But in our use case, I'll change the port numbers for both the servers. Okay, that means for Nginx also I'll change and for Apache also I'll change. So now in this use case, what I'm going to do is for Nginx, I'm going to change the port number. Okay, so for this Nginx, in order to change the port number, we have one file. What is the file name? etc Nginx site available default. Okay, this file I need to open. Okay, so then sudo. Any idea what is nano? Nano or VI? These all the editors. Definitely everyone practice using the nano and VI. If you don't know how to use VI or nano, we can't do anything in the Linux. Okay, so now here what is the path? CD, etc, Nginx, sites available, ls. Say in this we have a default is there. Sites available default. Then that file I'll open. Say in that example they have given nano. I'm using here vi. Another file I'll open with nano also. So what is vi? Vi is our editor. In order to edit the files, I'm using here vi editor. Okay, vim also we have editor. In Windows we have Notepad, WordPad. WordPad is different, Notepad is different, Notepad plus plus is different. These are the different editors, right? Every day we'll use Notepad, right? Okay, in the same way, we should practice VI also. Okay, so then I'm going to open this file. In this, by default, it is listening 80. But now I want to modify that 82. I want to modify that 82. 8080. I want to redirect to 80. By default, it is listening, but I want to change to 8080. If I want to insert anything, first I need to enter I, then it goes to insert mode. Okay, so then I need to modify. If I don't enter I, it won't allow to write. So now I'm in the insert mode itself. I have written, then escape. Okay, say colon WQ. So what this WQ will do is it will save and exit that file. If I don't want save and exit, I just need to enter Q itself. Colon WQ is for save and exit. If I open only colon Q without saving, I want to exit. Now I'm going to enter this. Why I have given sudo is it is not in my home directory. If I don't give sudo, I don't get the permission to save that file because I'm not logging as a root user. Now I need to restart that service. Sudo service Nginx restart. Restart Nginx. The same thing using systemctl also we can do. So now I'll go to my excuse me, that web server IP address. Okay, so 241 colon 8080. So I have given the 8080 I have given using this my web page need to open now. So I'll try to restart that status. I'll check once. It's running. So now here it is not opening. So you need to tell me the exact reason. Who is blocking us? Who is blocking us here? Okay, I'll give one more hint here. Curl localhost that Nginx page is opening here. Okay, so now here this is opening here, but there it is not opening. So that means who is blocking us? Who is blocking us? Okay, say we need to open security group that 8080. If I go to my security group, I have opened only 80 port. So now I'll go to that security group. Okay, in the inbound rule, I'm going to add Not 80. HTTP by default it uses 80 only, but I'm using custom port 8080. Okay, then from anywhere I'm going to add. If you want IPv6 also, you open that rule also. Okay, so now I'll try to open this with the 8080. So here we are getting Apache page, right? But that is not Apache page. It is opening from the Nginx itself, but that Apache page has been replaced with there. Okay, so then I'll confirm this with 8080. So that website here, this web page have been opened from Nginx itself. Okay, so then try to understand. I'll try to restart now. Apache2. So now if you see Apache2 have been started, right? Why it has been started? Why it has been started? Because 80 we don't have the conflict now. Previously we have the conflict with Nginx, but that has been replaced with 2. We have replaced that to 8080. But for my manager said, for Apache also don't keep 80. Now rename that to 8081. So now what I want to do is, for Apache 2 also, okay, I want to redirect that path. So now for the Apache 2, okay, say nano or VI, any editor is fine. Vim also is one of the editor, VIM. Okay, say now here I'll save this with nano, sudo nano. Okay, so then here we have listen that 80 is there, right? This 80 I need to modify into 8081. Okay, so once I save this, I need to exit, Control X and enter. Control X, it's want to save that or no. I want to enter, save and enter. Automatically it would be exited. Then confirm once by using that sudo nano. It's renamed to 8081. And for Apache 2, there is one more file also is there. We need to modify in 2 files for Apache wise. Then in this virtual host also, by default, it is redirecting to 80. I need to modify this into 8081. Okay, so no need to exit this. I need to enter Control X, save S, then enter this. Okay, so then in order to reflect this, sudo service Apache 2, I'm restarting. Even if you want systemctl, restart Apache 2. Okay, so then here I'll go to my security group. I definitely need to open 8081. So now I'll try to open this using the 80. Now I don't get any web page. 239.241 because 80 also is not listening here. Okay, then here I'll try to open 8081, but that is also blocked by security group. So now I'll edit my inbound rule. I need to log in. Here if I open 8081 in the security group, this also is going to open for us. I hope you got this right. So it's again, I don't have the credentials, but that's again is going to open after you restart. This all is going to open for us. Okay, I'll share this content and here we have netstat is one of the command. This command definitely we need to know in the server. whether that port is listening or not. Okay, so we need to use 8080. Okay, by default, we didn't get the netstat command, right? On Ubuntu, we may not have netstat command. Then we need to install sudo apt install net-tools. We need that package. Okay, so to run the netstat command, net-tools. Okay, then I'm going to check whether that 8080 is listening or not. And one more port is 8081. This will confirm me both the ports have been listening. I'll try to check with 8082. There is nothing is there. If I don't get that response means it is not listening. Okay, so now here I have used netstat, right? Other than netstat, there is one more modern Linux command is there. That is ss. Okay, 8082 it is not listening. But 8081 instead of netstat, the same ss also we can use. Then there is one more powerful command, and here I use TULN. T shows TCP, UDP, all listening ports, and numeric addresses and port numbers. It is going to display. It displays lot of values, but I want only 8080. That is the reason I put that 8080. Otherwise, it shows lot of ports. All the ports it shows. It shows all the ports it is going to show, but it shows the listening sockets, all those also we can use. Or SS also is one of the command instead of netstat, and LSOF. This is also one of the very basic monitoring command used for like a list of open files. So what are the list of open files also we can use? Okay, so this also we can check. And the process side is also we'll check based on the Nginx and Apache also. I'll explain that in the process wise. And if it is a web server, we can curl also, because already we have curl that page, whether that's working fine or not. So like this, we can curl this also. And we have one more command, ping and telnet. These commands also will use. Okay, so telnet, that local host 8080. This is not on the same server. From the remote server, we can use this. Okay, from the remote server, we can check it. So from the local host, it is trying to connect to, say it shows, right, connected to local host means that 8080 is working fine. 8081 also has been connected. Then I'll try to do 8082. It is not able to connect. 8082 is unable to connect to that mission. That connection has been refused here. Okay. So using this, we are going to connect to, or we can verify whether the port numbers have been listening or not. Okay. So whatever the commands we have used, I'll share that document. And to go through this video one more time, and everyone should be able to perform these all the activities. Yeah, please everyone download the document.